Today, we're going to be looking at a subreddit. The subreddit is referred to as Am I the A-Hole, in which we will be reading stories of our anonymous peers and weighing in on whether or not they exhibited a-hole behavior. AITA for making my wife throw out a whole chicken. What does that mean? Oh, by the way, I'm wearing shorts today. Don't be alarmed if you see a little thigh. These are my classic orange shorts. I love them. So my wife decided she was going to try a new recipe for dinner tonight. It's a one-pot chicken thing with orzo. She ordered the groceries online this morning and then went to collect them at around 11 a.m. She got back home around midday and unloaded everything from the car. Flash forward to 5:30 p.m. and wife returns from an afternoon walk with her friends. After 5 minutes of dinner prepping sounds, I hear a loud, "What the F? Where's the chicken gone?" from the kitchen. I naturally assume that she forgot to order it, but she assures me there is a chicken somewhere. Eventually, she tracks it down. It has been in the boot of our car all afternoon. Boot, for our American friends, means trunk. Now, the chicken wasn't a frozen chicken. The chicken was a whole, fresh, raw chicken in a sealed bag. Although it wasn't a particularly warm day, we still had a high of 16 degrees Celsius, which is 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and our car was sitting out in the sunshine all afternoon. Okay, so from 11 a.m. until 5:30, that's 6.5 hours of raw chicken sitting in your trunk. Just go get another one, dude. I don't care if the grocery store is 10 minutes away. A 20-minute endeavor to make a dish, like a one-pot chicken thing, and an extra $10, yeah, go do that. Sorry. I'm sorry to say it. Nothing is worth spending the entire night, dude, in front of the porcelain throne. There's nothing that would allow that to be something that I would want in my life, especially not even a surprise microphone. I told my wife I was posting this, and she wants me to stress that the chicken was still cool to the touch. Personally, I wouldn't say the chicken was warm, but I also wouldn't call it overly cold. It's safe to say it was somewhere between fridge temp and room temp. After finding the chicken, I tell my wife I don't want to eat the chicken. She tells me we're going to eat the chicken. I go back to the couch and start Googling how long you can leave chicken in the car for. Okay, the rule of thumb is, I think it's over 45 minutes, isn't it? I think it's something like 45 minutes. I used to be something called Serve Safe Certified, which is like if you work in any restaurants, you'd have to be Serve Safe Certified in California. I don't know. I'm really food anxious, though. Like, I got a lot of food anxiety. Yeah, this is the wrong story for me, because I'll be like, throw that out! Throw it away! That chicken is the spawn of Satanus Dominus. You know what I'm saying, dude? I had a bite of salmon a couple days ago, and with that one bite, I was like, this tastes off. You know how long it took me to cook and prep? 20 minutes. 20 minutes of my life cooking the salmon. But when I opened it up, I smelled it. I was like, this smells a little weird. It smells like a fishery, really fishy. And good fresh fish shouldn't smell fishy, especially salmon. And so what I did was I threw it away. And did I feel bad about it? No. I just popped a bowl of popcorn after that and called that dinner. Is that a good idea for everybody? Probably not. No, probably not. I go back to the kitchen and tell my wife I don't want to eat the chicken. She tells me we're going to eat the chicken. I explain that I've Googled it and we shouldn't eat the chicken. She keeps preparing the chicken. We have a back and forth like this for a while, at which point I pitch the idea that she can have the chicken and I can just make something simple for my dinner. She's not thrilled because she wanted to make this meal for me. At this point, I tell her I'm not going to eat it, and I feel like I'm being made to eat a chicken against my will. She then proceeds to walk out of the door, get in the car, and head off in search of another chicken from the store. Good. That's good. It's okay if you are irritating somebody else for safety, because she doesn't want to hear you hacking up along until 2 a.m. She doesn't want to hear that. She might think she wants to, but she doesn't. Dude, my stomach is like, it's annoying. More than anything, just annoying. My stomach, bro. If something looks at me funny, I'm out of the room. I'm out of the house. I feel like a bit of an asshole about it. I also feel like we may have wasted a perfectly good chicken. Hey, guess what? Nope. I think you're good. Eating chicken from the boot of a car that's been there for 6.5 hours. I think we're fair to say that that's fine to pass on. Top commenter here says that 100%, I wouldn't be eating that chicken either. Nothing is worse than food poisoning. Your body will purge every last drop from the mouth and anus, usually simultaneously. Yeah, it ain't cute. It ain't a cute little thing. It's like, oh, baby, you're sick. Let me take care of you. You are exercising demons. You are sweating, praying. It's like, God, I will be a better man. That's not something you want to risk. NTA, no way I'd be eating chicken that sat inside a car for that long, 6.5 hours. Again, it isn't worth risking salmonella. That stuff is nasty. Years ago, I had a coworker whose daughter died of salmonella poisoning. I F around a lot, but raw chicken isn't something I want to fight out with. I told my wife I was posting this as she wanted me to stress that the chicken was still cool to the touch. NTA, dead bodies are usually cool to the touch. Okay, I'm going to read this next one. It's a little gross, though, so skip ahead about 20 seconds if you don't want to hear it. NTA, I have a friend that required anal surgery after eating bad chicken. Their diarrhea was so bad, they ended up with an anal fistula. Fistula as in the bacteria ate through the wall of the rectum? Yeah. Well, I think we can all agree, let's not do that. You know, I've been around people who are like, come on, that's not a good idea to waste food, you know? And I'm like, hey, guess what? You can eat it, or you could take it home with you. I'm not going to eat that, though. You get one body, man. Until they figure out the head transplant thing, you get one body. And I'm not trying to put mine through turmoil and hellfire and damnation. Do the best that I can. AITA for leaving work early without telling anyone because it was over 130 degrees Fahrenheit where I work. Hey, don't work there. Problem solved. Don't do that. Don't work there. You don't need to work there. And what is it? Do you need to work at 130 degrees? Do you work in an oven? Do you work for Satan himself? Where you work? Hell? Do you work in the furnace room with the Titanic? Anyway, all right. This guy has a lot of edits. My guess is that, you know, people aren't sympathizing with him. So we're going to read the story first, and then we'll read the edits. Here we go. So I, 18-year-old male, am currently interning at a very prestigious nursery in the Midwest. It's a really big deal for me because the company has government connections, and having this on my resume basically guarantees me future job opportunities. But here's the issue. My boss, let's call him Mel Brooks, has been out of town on vacation for the past week. Normally, he's the one who works alongside me and checks in. But because he is gone, his boss, Warner Brothers, who works out of a completely different office across the state from where I'm stationed, has been supervising me remotely using the security cameras in the greenhouses. The greenhouse I work in is about a mile away from mine and my boss's office building, and since Mel Brooks is gone, I haven't had access to the air-conditioned office at all. I've been stuck at the greenhouses the entire time in the heat. Now, the weather has been brutal lately with highs around 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside the greenhouse, it is even worse. There's no fan, no AC, and barely any ventilation. The only way I can cool it down is by opening up the roll-up walls about 3 feet, but that doesn't do much. Even with shade cloth, the temperature inside reached over 130 degrees Fahrenheit today. I was working in those conditions for 6 hours straight before I started feeling lightheaded and got a headache. Okay, so it seems like you've just been lightly supervised and you've been tasked in working in unsuitable conditions. I have a feeling that your boss's boss, Warner Brothers, does not know that it's that bad, because that's pretty bad. You know, I would be trying to contact them and be like, yo, hey, can we get something figured out here? This is unbearable. This is literally unbearable. 130 degrees. You go to saunas that are tuned to 124, 126 degrees, and they're like, hey, you should not be in here for longer than 15 minutes. Heat stroke is a very real thing. I'm talking to you, Phoenix, Arizona. Why live there? Since I couldn't cool off and had nowhere to rest, again, I had no access to the office with air conditioning, I made the decision to leave about 2 hours early. I didn't notify Warner Brothers because I knew she'd be upset, and I don't have any sick leave to use anyway. About 30 minutes after I got home, Warner Brothers checked the security cameras, saw I was gone, and called me. She asked where I was, and I told her I'd gone home because I wasn't going to keep working in a greenhouse that was 130 degrees Fahrenheit. She told me that if I didn't return immediately and finish out the day, I'd be suspended with no pay for a week. Problem is, I live about 30 minutes away and can't work past 5 p.m. It was already 4:30, so there wouldn't have been enough time to drive back and get anything done. Okay, why didn't you tell her, though? You know, she has your phone number. Why didn't you tell her? Why didn't you say, hey, look, 130 degrees Fahrenheit is too hot. I got to go home. I'm feeling lightheaded. Because if you're saying all of those things, that's going to run up the flagpole, and that's going to draw attention to, you know, like OSHA violation or whatever. I don't know. Whatever violation. There's something going on. You cannot work in a place at 130 degrees Fahrenheit for over 6 hours. And look, a lot of people work in kitchens, and kitchens get hot as balls, dude. Kitchens get hot. Line cooks would be reading this and be like, what are you, lame? You know, but this kid is 18. He's new. You got to run that up the flagpole, though. You got to run that up the flagpole. That is unbearably hot. So here is where I might be the ass. I told her that even if I could make it back in, I wouldn't go back in because it was just too hot there. She should come out of her nice air-conditioned office and try working in there when it is as hot as it is. She then told me her intern isn't having any problem with the heat. She only has one greenhouse to take care of, and it actually has ventilation, unlike the 6 I have to take care of. So I just gave up on the conversation, said I was sorry, and hung up. You need to be a better communicator. I mean, look, being angry is one thing, and you know, you're working in unstable conditions. This is not a good working environment. If all you're saying is true, that is something you have to communicate. You got to be like, we need to get a fan in there. It is literally unbearable. I'm so sorry. but I don't think anybody could work in those conditions for that long. We need to together come up with a solution. I can't go back right now. I'm feeling lightheaded. I'm very sorry, but we do need to come up with a solution for that because it is absolutely unbearable. So now I might be suspended and I'm worried it'll ruin my reputation at this company. I get that I probably should have told someone, you think? But I also think I shouldn't be expected to work in dangerous conditions with no break and no access to AC. Why don't you do both? Why do you think it's one or the other? So AITA for going home early without telling my boss. What if you killed those plants? If it was as simple as the boss being like, oh, then let me just get a fan and bring it in there and blow the air out. Like this happens from time to time. You got to communicate your concerns. Otherwise, people aren't going to understand why you're leaving. Like you're bottling it all up, and I think as a species, dude, we need to get better at communicating our discomfort with other people. That's how we're going to grow as a species. And furthermore, I think that we should drink chocolate milk in the cafeteria. So AITA for going home early without telling my boss. Are you an a-hole? No, you're kind of dumb. You're young and dumb, though. You got to communicate at all. Edit to add more context. In my contract, it does state that I cannot work in conditions about 115 degrees. Oh, good. Then talk about it. Then say something. Don't just leave and say nothing. Here we go. The second edit here. Edit to, I am cleared of all trouble by HR and my boss, who was not happy to be called into an emergency Zoom meeting. I sent an email, an image of the thermostat, and was swiftly contacted by HR for a meeting as my contract had not been upheld by Warner Brothers, mainly the temperature part. I am now under the watch of a different manager who is closer to where I am working, and I will have one other employee with me until the end of the next week when my boss returns. Thanks for all the comments you guys left. A lot of them helped open my eyes to the fact that I truly walked out on my job. I hadn't thought about that before, but the comments really brought it to the forefront of my mind. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments. 5,000 upvotes on this one. It says, you are the asshole. You left without telling anyone. You didn't tell them because you knew they'd be mad. I have no problem with you leaving. It was crazy hot and you had no place to cool down. It's a safety issue. But leaving without telling someone seems like a reasonable reason to suspend someone. You just got to communicate, man. In life, you just got to communicate. It's also almost worse because it's a safety issue. If they come out there to check on you and can't find you, as far as they know, you're passed out from a heat stroke in a ditch somewhere and they'll be trying to rescue you. It's not a good look for the company to have no one managing or supporting in a situation like this, but Ops should have tried harder to make it known he was leaving or planning to leave. Everyone sucks here. You don't get to leave your job early without informing supervisors. That is how you get fired and suspended. Instead, you tell them because of the unsafe working conditions, you are leaving early for your own health and safety. Then there is a record of why you left. Yes, you got to think about what's going on the record, because if you just leave and say nothing, then you're abandoning your shift. No call, no show. You ever heard of that? That's a way to get suspended real fast. In a jiffy. Real fast 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 in a jiffy. Next story, AITA for not waking up a tourist who overslept and missed the day trip she paid for. Let me tell you something. When I'm on vacation, for the most part, I don't like this about myself. I'm about to tell you something you're not going to like about me too. If I'm on vacation somewhere, I'm sleeping in. Look, I was in Puerto Rico recently. Let me give you an example. I was in Puerto Rico recently, and I'm never in Puerto Rico. There is a place where you can go, I think, kayaking or canoeing, and when your oars touch the water, there is a bioluminescent algae. Like the water literally glows. It glows. How cool is that? You're thinking Avatar, all that stuff, okay? Very cool idea. When I was there in Puerto Rico, I was told that the way to get there would have been at least a 2-hour car ride and then a 1-hour boat ride to get to a place called Mosquito Bay. Spoiler alert, I did not go. I did not go in Jesus' name. Bye-bye. You understand me? Hell no. I said no. Real fast in a jiffy. Real fast in a jiffy. Because, look, dude, you're in a different place you're not used to. I'm not going to be back there for at least a couple years. It was cool. It was great. Food was good, all that stuff. Bro, I am not doing a 3-hour trip. First of all, I get sick and I get car sick. I get car sick so fast. I don't know why. If I'm not driving a car, I need to be napping. I don't know. Or in the passenger seat. Because I freak out, dude. If a trip is longer than 20 minutes, I'm freaking out. Even then, that's a lot. I don't care what kind of car I'm in. I have to have CBD under my tongue to not get car sick. Anyway, 2-hour car trip, 1 hour like ferry to get to this place called Mosquito Bay, dude. And by the way, when I was in Puerto Rico, there was a lot of mosquitoes going on. And so I'm thinking, I'm already getting bit, right? My legs are already covered in bumps. And now y'all want me to go to a place called Mosquito Bay to see a glowing lake? Cool. Again, cool, right? It is cool. Intellectually, it's cool. I'm sure if I saw footage of it, I'd be like, damn, I really missed out. But you know what? There is not a part of me that's like, God, I wish I went. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's see. Oh, man, I didn't read any of this story. Okay, here we go. Hi, guys. I'm a 20-year-old female Bulgarian tour guide, holy God, who accompanies groups to Sicily. On a recent trip, one woman who was traveling alone, mid-30s, was consistently oversleeping. That is me for real. The first day after we arrived, we had a day trip to Etna and Taormina. Real quick for context, I'm looking that up. Okay. Oh, it's like a volcano. Okay, real pretty. Mount Etna. All right. And let's see this next one. Oh, my God. Okay, this one is worth seeing. Whoa, that is gorgeous. For which we depart at 8 a.m. By the way, 8 a.m. is not that early, but you know what? I remember when I was a college student, I used to lie to myself and say that exact same thing. I missed so many classes. I make sure all the tourists are informed of the departure times on the bus the day before, and they also have my number to call in case they forget so I can remind them. They also all have printed out pamphlets with the schedule made by the travel agency that I hand out that has the time for departure on it. All of the group was on time except one woman. She was late by 10 minutes, which, okay, maybe she got caught up in something and was late. I excused it and then mentioned to the whole bus and to the mic that I do not tolerate lateness beyond 15 minutes at most in case of emergency like a forgotten possession, and that I must always be called and informed in case someone is running late. Trip went okay otherwise. The next day, this same tourist was late again by 25 minutes, almost an entire half hour. I called her twice to no answer, and we were just about to leave without her when she came out running and got on the bus. She got lucky as the receptionist of the hotel asked me about the missing piece of info on the rooming list and earned her some time. I reminded everyone again that I will not be waiting anymore for late tourists in the morning, and waking up on time is their responsibility. Okay, so what we have here is two very clear warnings. So far, pretty tuned in, all right? In college, I had 8 a.m. classes, and if you were there 15 minutes late or later, you were considered absent, and 4 absences equals a fail, all right? So this is a pretty clear indication of a consequence. So it's understood. This person understands. There's no legitimate reason. There is no reason why this individual would be confused. 25 minutes late. Sometimes people who are chronically late need to suffer a consequence just one time, because that's enough for them to go, oh, there is a consequence. Sometimes you just need to see a consequence, really, in life. And then you learn. Some people are just like that, dude. When we came back that evening, she asked me if I could make sure to wake her up on time. I reminded her a third time that I am not responsible for waking people up. Everyone gets a printed itinerary with departure times, and I announce everything the day before. She kept saying, no, just knock on my door if I'm not out by 8:15. And I kept repeating, I really can't do that for everyone. Please set an alarm. What do you mean you can't do that for everyone? Are you doing it for anybody else? That's my question. Why does she think that you can do that at all? You responding, I can't do that for everyone is, I don't know, a little vague to me, but that's because I'm very dumb. And this is like what a dumb person would hear. They would go, oh, you can't do that for everyone, but you could do it for me, right? But you're very, very clear because you follow up with, please set an alarm. You followed up with something that is the command. It's like, please set an alarm. No, I will not be doing that. On the day we were visiting Syracuse, New York. Shut up, Daniel. Well, on the day we were visiting Syracuse, she didn't show up. I waited 15 minutes after the supposed departure time, called her twice to no response, which is good. You're done. Then left with the bus and the rest of the group. She called me in a panic about an hour later. An hour later? So an hour and 15 minutes later, asking where you were, I explained the situation calmly. She got angry and said that I had one job and that I cheated her out of the money she paid to go on that day trip. She missed the whole day trip and was furious the next day. Later, she told the rest of the group that I abandoned her and also called my agency, leaving a bad review about me. AITA for not personally waking up a grown woman despite warning her multiple times I wouldn't. This is all about communication, right? So if you clearly communicated what you did, that you're not going to be waking her up, that is her problem. Please set an alarm. I will not be waking up anyone, I think is what you maybe could have said as opposed to everyone, but this is me really being picky and really thinking in terms of like the dummy who needs help getting up, because that could be me in a world. But this woman is, she owes her nothing. There's nothing this person did wrong, truly, at all. Yeah, no, not the a-hole. That other woman needs to grow up. Does she not have friends? Why is she asking you? Has she not had friends with these other women who were there too on this trip? Like, I assume you're all on the same floor, hotel floor, or whatever. Just ask the other people, hey, ladies, can somebody knock on my door if I'm not out by this time? I don't want to be a straggler. I'm really bad. I got jet lag really bad. Can anybody help me? Because heavy sleepers are a real thing. I sleep hard. I sleep really hard. Some mornings, a little encouragement is helpful, but I'm being really overly forgiving when I shouldn't be. This person is clearly in the wrong. They're a grown woman, mid-30s. No, you need to figure that out. Edit, I talked to my manager today. I was nervous at first because I was already tired of this whole shenanigan and didn't want to spend ages defending myself, so I went to him first and explained the situation before he approached me. He told me, word for word, "Hun, I deleted that BS from my email as soon as I read it. LOL, an icon. They'll remove the bad review." That's great. Good for you. Yeah, that sucks, dude. If your livelihood is being a good tour guide and somebody gives you a bad review because you didn't wake them up on time. It's like, and also it's so easy to wake up. There's so many phone alarms. You know what? I had a phone alarm in college. I don't think this is a real thing anymore. It was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had an alarm clock thing. I don't remember what it was. The Rock clock, I think, is what it was called. And it was literally a crowd of people being like, "Get up, get up, get up." And that was my alarm, and it worked. I don't know what, like just hearing a chanting group of dudes, like as if I was a gladiator telling me to get up out of bed. That crap worked, bro. And then every morning you would open the alarm, and it would be an inspiring message from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Is that still a thing? I think it was called the Rock Clock. It worked for me, dude. It really worked. Anyway, all right, let's see what people are commenting. This woman could also have requested a wake-up call from her hotel. Yeah, that's a courtesy thing a lot of hotels have, just a wake-up call. There was an app also back in the day where you could wake up strangers, but nobody wants to be getting phone calls from strangers. They just don't want that. I'm an avid traveler. I'd be angry to sit on the bus every morning waiting on somebody who is chronically late. Time is money, and she'd been wasting mine. If she was worried about hers, she needs to set an alarm. If she complained to other guests, I guarantee you they weren't feeling bad for her. NTA. This reply here says you're in a hotel, schedule a wake-up call with a front desk. Yes, they still do that. Beyond that, I'm surprised she made her flight out to Sicily in the first place. So true, dude. Oh my God. Being with somebody who's chronically late while you're trying to travel anywhere, I can imagine that being incredibly frustrating. And also, yeah, that's so true. You're wasting everybody else's time. They're sitting there on a bus for 15 minutes. Being idle in a singular location gives me so much anxiety. You know why? Because I start thinking to myself, oh my God, what if I have to go to the bathroom? Do I feel nauseous at all? No, the bus is about to go. What if I get car sick? Instead of looking out the window and looking at the trees and looking at the different stuff and having other things to occupy my mind, I'm sitting there just waiting in a singular spot. You feel like you're trapped. That's where anxiety, for me, that's where like a lot of that anxiety just starts starts bubbling up, dude. Anyone notice that the tardy tourist was asking Op to knock on her door 15 minutes after the scheduled departure time? Which would mean, if they were still asleep, even longer waiting time. How did I not notice that? A lot of people have specialitis, They think rules apply to everybody else except for themselves. And those people need to be fixed up quick, fast, and jiffy. Real fast and jiffy. AITA for letting my girlfriend stop coming over in the mornings after my mom's friend complained about her showering. This doesn't mean anything to me. Let's keep reading. I'm so confused by this title. My girlfriend works 12-hour overnight shifts, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. After work, she sometimes comes to my place to shower and sleep. She usually arrives around 8:15 a.m., takes a quick shower by 8:30, and then crashes for the day. Here's where the issue comes in. My mom's long-term friend who rents the basement, so my mom's roommate, complained that the sound of the shower at 8:30 a.m. woke him up. Wait, but people shower at 8:30 a.m. People just that's a normal time to shower. Why would you complain about that? My mom passed that complaint along to me and asked if my girlfriend could avoid showering until everyone is awake. I told my girlfriend, and she felt uncomfortable continuing to come over, understandably, in my opinion. After working all night, the last thing she wants is to feel like she's disturbing people just by taking a basic shower before bed. So she decided to not come over in the mornings anymore. She didn't cause drama or make a scene, just quietly adjusted, which is very sweet. But again, 8:30 in the morning for a shower is too early to shower? I disagree with the overall premise of this story, because showering at 8:30 a.m. is not unusual. What if you woke up at 8 a.m. and was showered at 8:30? Is that different? I don't know. But this other person pays rent, so I get it, but just, oh God. I later told my mom what my girlfriend decided, and she got upset not because of the shower, but because my girlfriend chose to stop coming over in the mornings. My mom insists that that wasn't her intention, but from our perspective, asking someone not to shower after a night shift pretty clearly sends the message that their presence is disruptive. Maybe. I mean, it's a hiccup for sure. For context, I also pay rent in this house. My mom's friend has lived here for years and pays rent too. We all share the space. It's not like my girlfriend was being loud or unreasonable, just taking a 5 to 10 minute shower in the morning, which seems pretty standard. Now my mom's upset with me, but I feel like I handled it fairly. I passed the message along. My girlfriend made a calm and mature decision, and now somehow I'm caught in the middle. AITA for not pushing back harder on the complaint, or for letting my girlfriend decide to stop coming over in the mornings. Weird. I think that's something that is worth you talking to your mom privately about before it even reached the girlfriend, to be honest. It's like, what do you mean 8:30 is morning? And that's no, a lot of people shower around that time. A lot of people go to the gym at like 6 a.m. and then get home and they shower and they get ready and they're making breakfast, dude. You ever have a sleepover at a friend's house and then their mom is up and at them at like 4 a.m. and you're passed out on the couch and they're out there clanging dishes and making coffee and they're like, oh yeah, I think he's asleep. Yeah, he's probably asleep. Should we make him breakfast? No, I don't know. I don't know if he'll want any. Maybe we'll just set aside some hash browns for him. You ever have that situation going on? It's like, yeah, it's freaking 6 a.m., dude. It's 6 a.m. doing that. It's like, 8:30 is not too early to be showering. I don't even understand the conceit of the story. And spoiler alert, I'm looking at something here that says everyone sucks, and I don't understand what that is. I'm going to read some comments because I'm feeling a lot of feelings. I'm feeling, I just want to see what this is about. Let's see. 8:30 a.m. is not early to be showering. Most people have to be at work by 8 a.m. and would be showering at 6 or 7 a.m. Your mom should have shut down the complaint and not brought it to you if she didn't want your girlfriend to act on it. Weird, but no, you are not the a-hole. Okay, yeah, I think that's right. I think the complaint in and of itself is incorrect. And the girlfriend is very mature. And look, a lot of people in this world are lean towards people pleaser behavior. I understand people pleaser behavior. I am very similar to that in my real life. If somebody else is uncomfortable, I am immediately uncomfortable. I'm trying to absolve a situation, and sometimes I try to absolve a situation so hard that it makes the situation worse. You ever had that? You ever done that? Boy, I can think of a few examples that I'm still uncomfortable to share to this day. Regardless, look, the girlfriend, people pleaser mode, is like, okay, let me just avoid this altogether. And that's, that is a normal human response. That's something that I can sympathize with. I can understand that. The mom bringing it to you and thinking that that's a good thing is like, could you not shower till everybody's awake? What? Gross. No. You're exhausted. You just worked a 12-hour shift. You're literally nocturnal. Nah, that sucks. So it's the mom, kind of. Let's take it one step further. The mom is also a people pleaser. So the mom, being a people pleaser to one of her rent-paying tenants, her friend, is like, hey, let's do something where everybody is happy, And then the daughter is like, oh, I'm going to do something where everybody is happy too. What if I just leave? And the boyfriend's like, what the hell's going on? There's a couple people pleasers opening doors for each other until they both fall off a cliff. And now Reddit thinks mom's an a-hole, which is crazy. Let's read this response. Yes, his mom should have shut it down, but also this derpy op should have shut it down before passing on such unpleasantness and unreasonable expectation to his girlfriend. Okay, so we all agree. 8:30 a.m. is decent for a shower. That's a good time. Take a shower. So the first hint of an unreasonable request is when you should address the situation. Don't pass it on to your girlfriend. Don't pass that complaint on. You gotta go, that sounds weird. Let's deal with that, mom. Some people have this thing called borrowed functioning, which is where they can't figure out a problem or a dilemma on their own. And so they have to, ask other people what they think about it. Maybe this guy, maybe Op here, needed some borrowed functioning and passed along the complaint from his mother to his girlfriend to help him remedy the situation, help him solve this situation. And so the girlfriend only interpreted that from a people pleaser's perspective as a complaint. And she's like, oh, let me fix this then. Because the guy had borrowed functioning. Hey, guess what, folks? Listen, borrowed functioning is when you have to do something that is somewhat difficult. You're thinking of something that, something that you're grappling with a little bit. In this instance, this guy's trying to understand how he responds to his mom's request to deal with his girlfriend's reasonable activity. And so he decided to share this information with a girlfriend and borrow her functioning, her thinking power to solve this. Instead of him going, I'm going to solve this on my own. And a lot of us have that. A lot of us will share like, oh my God, this guy texted me. What do I text him back? Or, oh my God, my girlfriend just said that my breath stinks. What do you think I should do? I don't know. Brush your freaking teeth. A guy asked me for dinner next week. Should I go? I don't know. Do you want to go? Yeah, I think I do. Then go. Make the decisions for yourself. Grow through the challenges. Baby girl, baby boy, watching this right now, don't rely on borrowed functioning so much. And to my people pleasers out there, hey, chin up. Try to react. I honestly, I got nothing. I tried just now in real time. You just saw me try to give advice to people pleasers, but I got nothing because that's me. Luckily, I have people around me to help me through that situation, but it's bad, bro. I got no advice for people pleasers out there. I'm sorry. So here comes an outro. Quick, fast, and a jiffy. Real fast and jiffy. Oh yeah. Fast and jiffy. People pleasers. Borrowed functioning. More pseudo psychology words.